We'll now recognize gentleman from Florida, Mr. Bilirakis, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations again. I know you're going to do a great job running this committee. And I also want to welcome Mr. Ehrenberg. We served in the legislature together, and thanks for coming up and advocating on behalf of our great state of Florida. I have a couple questions. Mr. Nielsen and Mr. Tiemann, is there currently an industry-wide uniform code of ethics that bans patient brokering?
There's not an industry-wide. There is some. There should be an industry-wide that's agreed upon. I know that there are...
Why don't we have an industry-wide code? I mean, my goodness, you would think we'd have something like that.
Because it affects both for-profit and non-profit, and it seems that they run in separate circles, and that there needs to be a unified ethical code because fraud happens both in for-profit and non-profit organizations. And so there should be, just as there's a patient Bill of Rights, there should be ethical standards for treatment facilities, just as there are for social workers, for drug and alcohol professionals.
Congressman, that's a great question, and there should be, and it's one of the real high priorities of the National Association of Addiction Treatment Providers. Is we've just initiated something called Quality Control Initiative, which actually outlined for the first time what is ethical and what is non-ethical. There needs to be standards. One of the things that amazed me was for the last 3 years, some of the most unethical practitioners would hold conferences on what is ethical. And what I found out was that ethics was defined by every individual. I mean, I actually had treatment providers tell me about the urine drug screen. It's okay to do that because the end justifies the means. The insurance company doesn't pay for this, so you know what? They will pay for urine drug screen, so we'll have them pay for that. And the net result is the person gets treatment. That was ethical in their mind. So one of the things we've taken upon our National Association is, you know what? Someone's got to put the line in the sand and determine what is ethical. So we've now done that. And in 2018, we're going to be with all of our association members saying ignorance is no longer a defense. Your own interpretation isn't a defense. We're going to tell you what's ethical and unethical, and we'll determine whether or not it is. But you're absolutely right. That needs to be done.
Very good. We need to make progress in that area.
I have a follow-up.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
If you don't mind. It's not just the treatment centers, but the executives should be held accountable as well. Part of the problem is it's at the top. And so I think that they should have a code of ethics that they should follow, and they should be credentialed, that these executives that run these treatment facilities should, and then you would have a list of the individuals that are unethical because they would lose their credential around that. The International Certification and Reciprocity Consortium is an organization that credentials counselors. We need something like that for executives and even for marketers and admission specialists.
And really, to that's what we're looking at with this ethical certification. Is just like as CEO, I have to sign off on our audit. I have to sign off on our 990. I would have to sign off in saying that Caring Treatment Centers we have provided the training, and I verify that we are adhering to ethical standards. Mr. Nielsen's absolutely correct. It should start at the top.
Absolutely. Let's get it done. Question for Mr. Ehrenberg. As you're well aware, patients brokering continues to be an issue in the state of Florida. Upon learning that various mental health and substance abuse facilities were making payments to individuals for the referral of patients identified in Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, homeless shelters, and other similar environments, Florida's legislature recently passed the Patient Brokering Act to prevent it by making the perverse practice a third-degree felony, punishable by 5 years in prison. However, monitoring and enforcing continue to challenge our state. What are other states doing? And then whoever wants to speak on, please give us if you have anything to contribute. What are other states doing to monitor and enforce patient brokering laws?
Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, and thank you for your service to Florida and Pinellas County in particular. We're seeing that a lot of our sober homes are moving to your coast because of our crackdown. And so we're all in this together. I can't speak to what other states are doing, but we do know that other states do have patient brokering laws on the books. And we were discussing earlier whether the federal government should have a more effective anti-patient brokering law. They do have an anti-kickback law. But this is something that you're going to see a lot of this scam, the Florida Shuffle, move to other communities that are not as aware of this problem and don't have effective laws on the books. And that's why we're offering ourselves as a resource for any community that would like to see what we're doing. We've trained prosecutors and law enforcement from throughout the state, and we'd be happy to help folks from across the country. So they'll be aware and ready to stop the Florida Shuffle when it comes to them.
Very good. Thank you. Great work. I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back. In conclusion,